Hello everyone, how are you all doing? I hope that you guys are having a great time out there. And I am back with the second video of the Zoom G3XN tone demo series. And in this video, I'll be showing you how to dial in a really lush, reverberated, ambient, clean tone. The exact same tone which I used in the intro impromptu right at the beginning of this video. So without wasting any more time, let's get started with the tone demonstration. Alright, so before we get into the tone, let me show you what are the gears that I am using for this video. I am using my Cort M600 electric guitar. This guitar has been there with me since ages now, 7.5 years or so. And I love the way this guitar sounds because this guitar is equipped with these amazing Duncan designed HB101 humbucker pickups. These are Alnico 3 magnet equipped pickups, which means that this guitar would give you a really warm tone. So I have connected this guitar directly to the Zoom G3XN processor, and the processor has been connected to my audio interface via the left and right jacks into the two input ports of the audio interface, which is the Behringer UMC 204HD. The audio interface is there because I am using that to record into the DAW inside my PC. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the tone. Okay, so as we all know that the Zoom G3XN allows us to use a maximum of 7 effects inside one patch, as I had discussed in the previous video as well. You can check out the video right here in the I button if you want to. So let me take you inside the tone and let us check what exactly is there inside the signal chain of the tone. So this tone is consisting of a compressor, an amp, which consumes 2 blocks as we had discussed in the last video. The amp is followed by the cabinet, which is followed by a delay and a reverb. So let's get inside each of the effects. So for the compressor, I am using a rack comp which has 4 parameters here: the threshold, the ratio, the attack, and the volume. So the threshold is set at around 40. The maximum value is 50. I think 45 or 50. 45 is an odd number, so 50 must be the maximum value. So yeah, that's common sense. So the threshold is set at 40. That means 80% of the maximum value. The ratio is at 5 out of 10, which is, so that's 50%. The attack is 7. The maximum value is 10, so that is 70%, and the volume is sort of preferential. For my case, for this tone, I have kept it at 80. Now moving on to the amp section. As we know, the amp is blocking or rather the amp is occupying 2 blocks, hence it would have 8 parameters. So the left side block has the EQ section, the bass, mid, treble, and the bright switch. So the bass is set at a very low value because these are the Alnico pickups, bass heavy pickups already. So we would not need a lot of bass from the amp section of the tone. So for that reason, I have kept the bass at around 20%, followed by the mid. That is 50, like a little less than flat, I guess, because the maximum value is 120. So yeah, it's a little less than 50%. Followed by the treble, it's somewhere around 70-75% of the maximum value. And the bright switch, of course, is on, because with the bright switch off, the tone would sound really muddy, and it would not be really profound. So the bright switch is switched on. Now moving on to the right side block of the tone, it has the gain, which is set at around 20%. Since it's a clean tone, we would not want a lot of crunch in the sound. So it is set at around 20%. The volume is towards the higher side at around 80. And we have the depth and speed, which basically I think is the proprietary tremolo effect of the Fender Twin Reverb. Let me just try it out. Yeah, so switching it on basically gives me that tremolo sound, which I'm not looking for in the tone. So that depth and speed part is not relevant in our tone, so we would just skip that bit. Now since we're done with the amp, let us move on to the rest of the signal chain. The amp is followed by the cabinet. I am using for this tone not a matching cabinet this time, but a different one. This is the HW4 into 12 cab. By the way, I was using the FDTWNR amp model, which translates, or rather which is the amp sim for the Fender Twin Reverb amp. Now coming back to the cabinet, this is the HW 4x12 or the high watt 4x12 cabinet. Again 4 parameters: microphone, dynamic 57, and the Sennheiser MD421 microphone blend knob, and the EQ with the high and low. So the mic is switched on, it has to be switched on or the cabinet is basically of no use. So the mic is on, the blend is right at the dead center position at 50%. The high and low, again, they are also at 50% each. So these parameters are not required to be tweaked too much. No, actually the low is a little more than 50, 59 as it shows. Okay, now this follows, or rather this is followed by the delay. So as you must have noticed that the delay is sort of swiveling around like in a stereo position. So it is something like, though very subtle, but it is giving your tone that extra bit of width. So in order to get that kind of a stereo thing happening in your tone, we would need something which has a stereo property in it. So for this tone, I found the PP delay, which is the ping pong delay, ping pong. So this is something I think which gathered the name. So the ping pong delay is something which is giving me that stereo thing. One feedback is coming from the left and the next one is coming from the right. So the PP delay is something which I am using for this tone. Now let us get into the parameters. So the time is set at quarter note into 2. As I told you that I like to use a tap button live, so I do not really like that millisecond timer thing, so I keep it at quarter note into 2. After that we have the feedback set at 30%, followed by the mix, which basically is the amount of the delay that is going to be there in the tone. So the mix is again very low because we are not looking for that really aggressive kind of a bounce after we are done hitting the strings. So since we are looking for that really subtle feedback which would facilitate some stereo imaging in the tone, that's why we have the mix set at around 26. The tail, again, as we know that the tail function when switched on basically takes the trail of the delay even when we switch the pedal off after playing the note. So it's not really relevant because the delay will be switched on at all times. So whether you leave the tail button on or off, it does not really affect the tone at all. After that, the last block of, or rather the last effect of the signal chain, which is the reverb, because this reverb is something which is giving you that big lush kind of an ambient texture to your tone. So this reverb thing is really important, and let us go through the settings of the reverb. So I am using the chamber reverb here. It has 4 parameters again: the pre-delay, the decay, the mix, and the tail. So the pre-delay is set at 0 because I'm not looking for that pre-delay thing, like the reverb happening a little after I hit the note, because I want that reverb coming out immediately after I'm done hitting the strings. So the pre-delay is set at 0. The decay is on the higher side since it's a reverberated tone. So a higher decay would mean that the reverb would stay for a longer time. So the decay is at 85%, followed by the mix, again a little bit on the higher side. The mix is at around 75. And the tail, irrelevant here because we are not switching off the effect anyhow. So whether you switch it on or off, it does not really matter. Woo, we have pretty much covered the entire tone in a very short time. I hope that you guys have an idea about how to create an ambient clean tone from your processor. It does not have to be a G3XN itself, but if you own one, it would be of advantage to you because you would know what exactly are the settings which can be used to extract a similar sounding tone. So this was it for the video. Tell me what exactly are you looking for in the next videos, in the upcoming videos, that is. I would love to cover a few of the tones as well, because I have planned a few videos containing different tones and some playthrough videos as well. So thank you so much everyone for tuning in, and I hope that you found this video to be very useful, and I will see you in the next video. And of course, if you're new here, do consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that bell icon, because I think I'll be a little more regular from this point onwards, because tone demoing is something which I have already loved to do, or rather I have started to love doing already. So I am looking forward to the coming videos as well. So do subscribe, hit that bell icon, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care everyone. Have a great time ahead. Goodbye.